Friday night here in paradise, and I can't think of anything better to do than see how my engine is going. So, apart from the little lever on the carburetor, I have tweaked the inside of the carburetor with a little bit of metal putty inside that carburetor to reduce the amount of flow. So hopefully my my spark plug doesn't get too filthy wet to spark. So I did have a device on here to try to only spark when that valve is up. But it worked very badly. Seemed to be short-circuiting, was giving me hot batteries, and I think I got away with it by the skin of my teeth through luckily not blowing up my ignition module. So with the changes I have made, which are really about sealing and flow, we're going to fill this up, see if we can get it going. Actually, the last time I got it going, it worked really nicely. But was that a fluke? Was it? Don't know. We shall find out. So I always empty the tube here because the petrol I'm using is this fuel light, and it seems to evaporate overnight if I leave it in. That leaves me with just a couple of drips of oil in there, which the machine is not going to run on. To get it to start reliably, I empty the oil out of that little fuel tube, and then once I've filled this up, do it again to empty the air out of the fuel tube. Okay, that's it. So now we're going to empty the air out of here very, very carefully. That's it. Okay. Spilling lots down there. Right. Also, I'd just mention to you, it's much better to run these engines with that open. There's not enough hole here for the piston going up and down the crankcase is going to blow air back and forth, and that there isn't enough. It actually slows the machine down significantly if you have that screwed up. Okay, turn the ignition on. We're going to prime it and turn it over a couple of times. But I've found that I've needed to start this with the trusty drill over here. But we'll see what happens. So you can hear the sparking. Well, fantastic. Just by hand. So this motor went from being my beautiful little star to being something I hated when it didn't work. Now that I've got it running really well, it's my beautiful little star again. So you probably can't see, but there's quite a puff of smoke coming out of this, but it's not half as bad as it was before I changed that, put that little bit of metal stuff in there to reduce the amount coming out. But have a look at this. So So significant little pop of smoke there, but hey, what do I care? Not hugely. I know theoretically I'm in the kitchen here, but wife allows it, so you know, lucky old me. See the difference it makes? Loses a lot of power if you cover that hole. We're going to see how well this runs if I put a little bit of that's really good. I mean, this little motor is only 1.6 cc. And it's made for demonstration, cuteness, desktop model running. It's not going to, not going to be able to pull me around on a motorbike or anything, is it? So I've still got a little bit of looseness, well, not looseness, that I believe the crankshaft has a slight bend, but it's not too bad. Not as bad as it was when that was loose. And with a little bit of modification in here, getting the size of those inlet holes just perfect by using a bit of metal stuff in there. What do you call it again? Metal putty. The metal putty has got this running starting better. I mean, it started really easily, and it doesn't oil and sludge up this spark plug, which is what was happening. And with this adjusted and tightened up, we're getting quite a good hit and miss. This gets only slightly warm over 20 minutes or so of running, so you really can't complain about that. Well, I'm not going to complain about that. I'm still seeing if I can get another crankshaft. What we pay for these may be reasonable value, but they are still meant to be a kind of a high-end toy, and you'd like it to be as perfect as it can be. So but the fact that that's started from cold today, I hadn't pre-warmed it for you guys, just it's a lovely Friday afternoon here. So there's great news and not so great news. The great news is putting this whacking great thing in here and trying to lever off this flywheel, I've managed to get that straight. You know that flywheel was not straight. That, just by bending this thing, and actually you can just bend it with your fingers. Go, It's really quite straight now. So that's a good start. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to make some kind of flywheel puller for this. Okay, from trailer safety thingy to flywheel puller. It's going to go behind there and pull this off. So this safety puller will get the flywheel off here. That goes in there. This goes on here. And it's coming off. Yep. Yep. A little bit more. Okay. My goodness me. That is tricky. Pull, and it's off. Oh my goodness me. Well done. Well done me. So this flywheel puller was made out of a part of a safety chain latch for the trailer of a car. So you can see I've had to grind each side of that so that it would fit behind the wheel of the engine, EM2. The crankshaft goes through there, and then you wind this, pushing that in through the little guide. So that's what we've made to get this flywheel off, which was stuck, and also managed to straighten the crankshaft and fix the other problems. Hey, thief, what you doing? That is just not going in all the way, that one. So why? That's obviously needs to be shortened a bit. Oh my goodness me. Ow. We'd better hold that with this. Shorten it a bit. I suspect I'm going to lose it if I do that. So I'll tell you why these two at the top can't screw in all the way, and of course you know why. It's this screw and this screw. They bang into those. So shortening them a bit, doing them up in there a little bit tighter is quite a good idea. All of these can be really quite tight. The rest of them are, except of course for this one. But that's now very tight as well. Yep, and then we know how to get this wheel off should we need to. I've managed to do that without stuffing it, which I'm eternally grateful. Go in there, absolutely. Oh, come on. Well, that's unexpected. We'll just back that off a bit. Okay, that could do with a tiny clean up with a file, I think. So we'll better do that. Okay. Okay, we might clean out the inside of this with a drill by hand. Not really. Why is that so hard to get on and off? I mean, okay. I can see where it's been screwed in at the wrong angle. Deformed the metal in there a little bit. That should help. Okay. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it. Straight and turn that on. Oh goodness me, that sounds good. And does it work? Well, it won't work right now, I don't think. Petrol will be or it might. Yeah, I said the petrol will be evaporated, this petrol that we use here. Come on. But I mean, that's good to see. It definitely wasn't doing that before. So what do I think of the EM2 now? Well, I love it. You know, it's got so much more personality than I would have guessed. You can be adjusting how much valve clearance. You can be adjusting how far up and down the valve goes over there. You can be adjusting how far up and down this goes and how strong the spring is. You know, adjusting the ignition backwards and forwards. I've tweaked things with the carburetor, and all of those things has a impact on how it runs. I'm not just talking about the speed of its running. I'm talking about the sound it makes, the smoke it makes, the chugging that it makes in between when it hits, you know, the misses as it gets near the hit again. Absolutely remarkable amount of personality, and so very satisfying to get it running the way you want. So what I've had to do, straighten the crankshaft by hand, shorten the two screws at the top here and on the other side where they bang into these screws. Obviously I've made this little lever for the richness, for the mix of the petrol. Put some washers under here so I can get that to stay exactly where I want it to stay. I've had to adjust the rotation of the valve lifter cam there and adjust how far up and down the governor carrier is. I tried a few other things that didn't work out, but I'm loving the reliability, the sound and the speed of this right now. As I say, it's been very satisfying and interesting. Now, unlike the other hit and miss I've got, the bearings seem to be really good with this, and I haven't heard any clonking from the big end or the little end up in the piston. And you can't easily get oil at them. I have poked oil in from this little hole in the crankcase here. I have poked oil in there and hoped that I've got it on the big end, but look, I'm delighted that with quite a bit of running, you know, I must have run it 10 or 20 times, I haven't heard those bearings getting worse. If the original hit and miss engine of mine, the bearings were getting worse by then. So yeah, all in all, I think living with this, really good experience. You can get it to start and run beautifully. Metal putty. A little bit of metal putty.